sunshiny smile, heard the roar of a plane as it sailed through the sky. To a playmate she cried with a bright twinkling eye, my daddy rides that ship in the sky. Oh, my daddy rides that ship in the sky. My daddy rides that ship in the sky. Mama's not afraid and neither am I, 'cause my daddy rides that ship in the sky. Then a pug-nosed kid, as he kicked up his heel, says my daddy works in the iron and the steel. Yes, my daddy makes planes so they fly through the sky, and that's what keeps your daddy up there so high. Oh, that's what keeps your daddy up there so high. That's what keeps your daddy up there so high. If you're not afraid, then neither am I.
With all the family under one sky, family under one sky, hallelujah. All the family under one sky, family under one sky. Now I'll sing a line and you sing it back, okay? We're people, we're animals, we're flowers and birds in flight. I said we're people, we're animals. We're flowers and birds in flight all together, and we're all family under one sky, family under one sky. In here, we're all family under one sky, family under one sky. We've got dark skin, we've got light skin, we've got straight hair and curly too. We speak English, we speak Spanish. We're different, but we're the same. Here you go. And we're all a family under one sky. We're a family under one sky. We're all a family under one sky. We're a family.
There's loads of books and loads of tales about Anansi, so be sure and check some of them out at the library. This is one where Anansi is not so much a trickster as he can't control himself. They ever talk about self-control with you here at school? He has a problem with
said, Anansi, I have to go to the store and get some more spices. You continue doing your work, and when I get back, I'll put in the spices and we'll cook dinner and we'll have a wonderful meal. But Anansi, she said, whatever you do, don't go and touch those beans. They're very hot and you could burn yourself. What did I say, Anansi? He said, I won't touch
those. He found himself standing right in front of that pot of beans. Well, she said, don't touch the beans. It won't hurt if I smell them. Took the top off. Oh, Anansi loved beans. He said, it won't hurt if I just take a taste. Grandma doesn't have to know. Sitting right there was her wooden spoon, and it looked kind of lonely, so Anansi picked it up. And he took a taste. He took it out of the bowl. He blew on it. It was good. Maybe just one more. Maybe another. I've had 3. A 4th one's not going to make any difference. Well, Anansi got to thinking he'd like some more of that, and he wanted it to cool faster, so he took off his hat and he put the beans in the hat. Well, a moment later, there was some yelling out in the field, and some neighbors were yelling, "Get out of here, you nasty birds! Get out of here! Get away from Grandma's beans! Get away from here!" Well, the birds suddenly flew in the kitchen window where Anansi was, and the neighbors started pounding on the door. They said, "Anansi, let us in! Let us get those birds! They're eating Grandma's beans!" Well, there was Anansi, all those people at the door, and Anansi had those beans in his hat. You think he wanted them to see him with the beans in his hat?
No.
He had to hide them. Where do you think he could hide them? Where could he hide them?
So he could go to his room. He could go to
Put him in his room? Yeah, that's an idea.
Put it on his head.
Put it on. That's exactly what Anansi did. He grabbed those beans, he put them on his head. But you know, those beans had not had a chance to cool yet. He felt those beans on his head. Imagine that, all those hot beans. And then he opened the door, and the neighbors came running in. They chased away the beans, and then they started to leave, and they saw Anansi standing there like this. They said, "Anansi, what's wrong?" He said, "Nothing's wrong. You can leave now. You can leave now." They said, "But Anansi, you look like you're in pain. Did those birds hurt you?" He said, No. He said, "I'm fine. You can go now. You can go now." Well, Anansi was starting to sweat. The sweat was pouring down his face. He was starting to cry from the heat. They said, "Anansi, no, we need to help you. We're your friends, Anansi. Let us help you." Anansi just wanted them to leave. They wouldn't leave. He said, "No, it's all right. It's all right. They're fine. I'm fine. You can leave now." His voice was getting higher and higher. They said, "Anansi, let us help you." Anansi was going like this, and he grabbed his hat and he started to move it around, to move the beans around. They said, "Anansi, what are you doing?" He said, "It's a dance. It's a dance." He said, "What kind of dance?" He said, "It's a hat-shaking dance. It's the hat-shaking dance." They said, "Oh, Anansi, that's a wonderful dance. Let us do it with you." So they all got up and they started doing the hat-shaking dance. Go ahead, do it with me. And they started shaking that hat every now and then. They go, "Woo! Well, Anansi could see they weren't going to leave. He figured he needed to get rid of them. Anansi went out the door like this, and they followed him right out the door, doing the hat-shaking dance. And the people were out in the fields, and they saw this long line of people going up the road doing this crazy thing. They said, "Oh, that looks like fun." They all got behind. Well, there was this long line of people going up the road going, well, down the road from the other direction came Grandma with the spices. She saw this crazy bunch of people coming down the road, and right in front of them was Anansi. She thought, "What on earth?" Well, Anansi got up to Grandma, and he finally could not stand the heat anymore. He grabbed that hat and he pulled it off, and the beans went flying everywhere. The people looked out. They couldn't figure out what happened. Grandma knew what happened. She said, "Anansi, I told you not to touch those beans." Suddenly a light bulb went on and everybody understood what was happening. They started laughing. Anansi had hot beans in his hat. And Anansi, poor Anansi, his hair was all burned off of his head. And when they started laughing, he was so embarrassed that he ran off into the tall grass. And you know, to this day, that's why spiders are never out where you can see them. They like to be in the tall grass, they like to be in the corners. And they say that it's all because of Anansi and the pot of beans that he was so embarrassed about what happened. They have lots of wonderful markets in Latin America. There's a food market. There's a market with lots of crafts like I've got there. There's my sister-in-law and my nephews in a market in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. And here's a song about going to the market to buy some musical instruments. There's Jose Luis Orozco. This comes from a book of his called Diez Deditos, and other playwrights and action songs from Latin America. Here's another book with other great songs. There'll be a guitar, there'll be a clarinet and clarinete, there'll be a violin, and then a cello, which is
violon in Spanish. And there'll be a tambor or a hand drum. This is in Spanish, but it's very, very simple. And I know that you guys can learn it. The song says, En la pulga de San Jose. Can you say that? En la pulga de San Jose. That means in the San Jose flea market. Yo compré una guitarra. Yo compré una guitarra. That means I bought a guitar. Here we go. Here's how it goes. En la pulga de San Jose, yo compré una guitarra. Try that with me. En la pulga de San Jose, yo compré una guitarra. Okay, here's your guitar. Hold up the neck with one hand, strum with the other. Ta-da-ta-da-ta-da, la guitarra.
Ta-da-ta-da-ta-da, la guitarra, then sing by usted, which means you go to. By usted, a la pulga de San Jose. You go to la pulga de San Jose. That's it. This goes under your chin. This goes up in your hand. Hold up your violin. You need a bow to play it. A stick with some horse's hair. Hold that with this hand. Lean, lean, violin, tun, tun, el tun, tun. Lon, lon, violon. Lean, lean, violin. Nette, 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 clarinette. Tada, 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 la guitarra. By usted, a la pulga de San Jose. By usted, a la pulga de San Jose.
Let's go back about 200 years. That's a picture of the Blue Ridge Mountains, which you guys are fortunate to live very close to. If you lived 200 years ago, you might live in a house like that, a log cabin, and the logs would come from the trees right around you. And you wouldn't go down to Walmart for your food. You'd grow some corn and some other stuff in your garden, and you'd have some chickens to get your eggs. And for your meat, you might eat a hog, part of a hog that your dad or mom butchered, but most likely, most of the time, you might be eating some food that you went out and hunted. And that's a hunting dog, and he's treeing some animals up there. Might be those raccoons. That's from a separate picture. I'm going to show you a little dog that you might want me to make for you out of this balloon, okay? I'm going to make a little snout. Okay? Put some ears on him. Let's give him a neck. And a couple of legs. 1, 2. Give him a little body. And dog and his name was Blue. And dog and his name was Blue. And dog and his name was Blue. Extra $5, he's a good dog too. Here's your dog. Here, Blue, you good dog, you. Can you sing that with me? Here, Blue, you good dog, you. Well, I shouldered my gun and I tooted my horn. Gonna catch a possum in the new round corn. Old Blue barked and went to see. He'd cornered a possum in a cinnamon tree. Here, Blue, you good dog, you. Here, Blue, you good dog, you. You know, old Daniel Boone had a dog and his name was Blue. He was a really, really good hunting dog. And one day Daniel was out hunting. They were running across a field. Out of the distance flew an arrow. It came so fast that when it hit old Blue, it split it right in two. The front half split away from the back half, just like that. Well, Daniel was always prepared. He had some super glue in his pocket. He grabbed that super glue, he slapped a little bit on the front end, he slapped a little bit on the back hand, and he held them together. Count to 5 with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blue was all back together again. He blinked his eyes. He licked Daniel's cheek. He was all back together and barely lost a heartbeat. Now the only problem was Daniel was in such a hurry that when he put them back together, he put the back end on upside down with his legs facing up and down. you know, super glue, once it's stuck, you can't do anything about it. So that's the way glue was for the rest of his days. And you might think that would be a problem, but it wasn't, because, see, glue would run for a while on his front legs, and when he'd get winded, why, just flip right over on his back legs. So it didn't turn out so bad after all. That's old glue. I'm going to put him over here with these dog books, because I'm making him to encourage you to check out some good books about dogs. Now, if you're reading chapter books and you want to read a good old hunting story, and parents, if you want to read one to your kids, try Where the Red Fern Grows, about a boy who has 2 hunting dogs. If you want just a plain old feel-good story, try Because of Winn-Dixie. The girl moves to a new town with her pa. They live in a trailer. She doesn't know anybody. She feels lonely. One day she's walking around in Winn-Dixie supermarket, and she sees a stray dog running all over. And she convinces her dad to let her adopt that dog. She names him Winn-Dixie. And everywhere that dog runs off to, she follows, and she meets somebody new. Turns out real well. And if you're a 4, 5, 6-year-old, I highly recommend the Henry and Mudge series. Raise your hand if you've read any of the Henry and Mudge books. Good. They are fun, aren't they? That Mudge is the cutest dog, but boy, does he slog. Oh, yeah, we're bound for the mountain, bound for the mountain, bound for the mountain. Over the mountains, the hills, and the fountains, away with the chase away. Rover, rover, see him, rover, catch him, over the mountains, the hills, and the fountains, away with the chase away. Got it? Well, one time there was a little boy whose father would always go out hunting. Little boy would have to hear those hounds baying all night long, and he'd want to go too. But every time he'd ask his pa, "Oh, can I go too?" His pa would say, "No, you're too young. Your legs are too short, and you get left behind. We'd have to come back and get you. You better wait till you're a little older." But that little boy, he begged and pleaded. He pleaded and begged and begged. Well, they set out pretty fast across those fields. They went across the creek, got the bridge into the holler, and that little boy, he was keeping up with them for a while. But those dogs, they started to go faster and faster, and the little boy was going slower and slower and slower and slower, and finally he got into some rush, and finally he tripped over a log. He got himself up, and he couldn't hear those dogs anymore. They were too far ahead of him. Took out his horn, he blew for blue. Oh, where are you? Oh, where are you? All he could hear was that old owl. Those old mosquitoes. And that old bullfrog. Took out his horn again and blew it. Oh, where are you? Oh, where are you? Well, off in the distance, he thought he heard a little something. He said, "I think that's them. I hear them coming around the mountain now. Here they come. Here they come. They're coming to get me right now." He said, well, bound for the mountain, bound for the mountain, bound for the mountain, over the mountains, the hills, and the fountains, away with the chase away. Rover, rover, see him, rover, rover, catch him, over the mountains, the hills, and the fountains, away with the chase away. Listen to the hound dogs, they sounding right over the way, all night long till the break of dawn, merrily the chase goes on, it's over the mountains, the hills, and the fountains, away with the chase away. Now, we all know about recycling, maybe, how you use things in new ways, okay? Well, in the old days, when you got these big old holes in your blue jeans, like he's got, and your mama said, no more wearing those blue jeans, she didn't just throw those blue jeans out. She took the blue jeans and she cut out squares and shapes out of the good part of the blue jeans. She did that with all the leftovers for the clothes, and then when she got a nice big pile, she'd say, it's time to make a patchwork quilt. And she'd sew those patches together, and she'd make something new out of those old things. Now, here are the motions. I want you to put on a pair of glasses for your grandma, because you know our eyes get old. On my grandma's, and probably the first place you need a patch is right here, because you're sitting on it all the time. So for patch, I want you to kind of hit your bottom. Patchwork, and for quilt, I want you to pretend you've got a needle and you're sewing, okay? On the grandma's patchwork quilt, let me see it. Squares of corduroy and the silk, red and green and blue, and yellow too. On the grandma's patchwork quilt. What is a folktale? Okay?
It's a story that's been passed down from generation to generation.
There you go. Okay. The idea with a folktale is how it's come along. There's all kinds of different folktales, but the basic idea is it's been passed along from generation to generation. And the reason that there are all these folk tales around is that if you go back 100 or 150 years ago, all the things that we use, all the devices like TVs and movie theaters and smartphones and computers, record players and radios, none of that was here. If you wanted to hear a story, somebody had to tell you that story right there where you were sitting. And so that's what people would do in the evening, was they would tend to sit around and sing old songs and tell old stories. And they had learned them from when they were kids. And they grew up and they told them to their kids. The banjo came to this country from Africa. When black people came to this country, they brought a little banjo with them. There are still, in Africa, there's about 60 different instruments that resemble the banjo. But now the banjo is used a lot by all kinds of people who like to play mountain music and bluegrass. Now here's an old mountain song, and it's real easy to sing. I wish I was a mole in the ground. Oh, I wish I was a mole in the ground. If I was a mole in the ground, I'd root that mountain down. And I wish I was a mole in the ground. Can you try that thing? I wish I was a mole in the ground. Sing it again. Oh, I wish I was a mole in the ground. Oh, you sing great. If I was a mole in the ground, I'd root that mountain down. And I wish I was a mole in the ground. To see if we can make up a verse to this song. All you need is an animal and a place that that animal is. Maybe what it does. Who's got an idea for an animal? Okay? Ooh. How about if I was a lion in the den? What would I do? What would I do if I was a lion in the den?
Hunt for food. I'll bring a zebra in.
I what?
I bring a zebra in.
Bring a zebra in. Well, the lion's got to eat, and that rhymes. He's got a good sense of rhyme. Let's do that one. I say go with that one. I wish I was a lion in the den. Oh, I wish I was a lion in the den. If I was a lion in the den, I'd bring a zebra in. And I wish I was a lion in the den. Let's try one. Now there's different kinds of folk tales, and I'm going to give you some samples of them. We sometimes call them genres or subgenres, and one is the tall tale. Now a tall tale is partly true. It starts with a real situation that would actually happen. And very often, usually in fact, the teller kind of acts as if he didn't know that he was stretching the truth. He kind of acts like he's telling you the truth, but he's really exaggerating. And he's telling it just for the fun of it. He doesn't believe it. He's just telling it for the fun of it. Now, who can tell me something that a possum does that helps it survive from its predators? It plays dead, that's right. And the reason it does that is that when a predator comes to eat it, if it thinks it's already dead, it thinks, oh, that's not fresh meat, that's not very good, it's been laying around for a while. I was out in the swamp, and I was trapped all the day. I come back into the camp, and I say to my wife, what you have fixed to eat? I am very hungry. She say, not much, vieux, not much. I pick up a few shrimp and a crab, and with them I make a gumbo. A gumbo is a soup. Ah, chérie, I say, a gumbo is very little for a man fatigued like me, a man tired like me. Why you not kill a chicken? She say, we only have one chicken left, and she lay an egg every day. It would be a mortal sin to kill a beast like that. Just then, I hear a out in the backyard. I throw open the door, I look out, and there is a rat de bois, and he's got our last hen by the neck. I run out in the yard, I pick up a stick, I give him a grand coup de bâton. I put his feet in the air. I say to my wife, look, the bon Dieu is bon, the good Lord is good. Now we're gonna have meat to eat. So I take the hide over to Zebby. He the fur trader in the next camp. He gonna take that hide and he gonna sell it. He take that hide and he give me a bottle of wine for trade. My wife, she fix up a little bread, she fix up a stew, and everything come good. A little while later, I open the oven door to see how everything is going. Now maybe you not believe this, but I open that oven and there is the rat de bois. He's standing up in the pan. He had eat the potatoes, he had drink the grease, he come running out the door, he run between my wife's legs, knock over the bread, knock over the wine, he go running out through the door. He grab that hen and he go running off. And that's not all. That night, he go back into Zebby's camp, he take the hide off of the stretching board, and he put it back on. Now that's something, huh? And while he was there, he ate up the stew, and he went back to Zebby, who had his hide, and he took that hide off of the stretching board, he put it back on, and he ran off. Now, could a possum really do that? No, it's an exaggeration, but it's based on something true, which is that a possum plays dead. Through the mountain, what they would do is they would have a drill, and John Henry would hit that drill, and then the shaker would twist it so it dug into the rock. He'd hit it again, they'd twist it again, hit it, twist it, hit it, twist it, till they had a big enough place where they could put a stick of dynamite, and then they would blow up a little more of the rock and start all over again. The owner of the company brought a steam drill around. These were real machines that they invented to do the work. And they said it could do the work of 10 men. Well, if it could do the work of 10 men, then 9 of those men would be out of a job. So the legend says that John Henry raced that steam drill to see who could go further through the mountain in the same amount of time. Well, the captain said to John Henry, you know, bring me a steam drill around. I'm gonna bring that steam drill out on the job. Walk that old steam drill on down, Lord. Walk that old steam drill on down. Well, John Henry said to the captain, he said, a man ain't none